In the summer, it's $300 to $400 a month, but in the winter, it goes down to $100 for electric bill.
Okay, so there you go. Okay.
Not bad.
I believe we are live. Yeah. It says we're live.
Are you sure?
Counting live. It says this video is live. Okay. So we must be live somewhere.
Zuckerberg doesn't agree.
We're live. And I'm just going to turn the volume so I don't have feedback here. Excellent, excellent. And I'm just.
I don't see it. Where is it?
The guys aren't seeing this.
I see it.
We are.
Oh, now I do. Yeah.
Yeah, we're at least live on my Facebook.
Because you guys keep moving your Facebook pages around and changing names and all that stuff.
No, Brad.
I went to the old one.
We just want to make sure you're paying attention. That's all.
There you go. Keeping us honest.
Yeah, but we tried to post links everywhere to make sure that everyone knows where it is. Okay, so welcome everyone to another edition of Wine and Whiskey Wednesday, brought to you by your hot ninjas. I really like saying that. I just have to tell everybody that.
That looks like water. Is that water again?
It is. You know, we actually have no wine in the house.
That's not true.
No wine and no air conditioning.
No wine and no air conditioning. I know it's water tonight.
We have wine for special occasions, and I have been told this is not a special occasion, so I'm not allowed to drink it.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So just to clarify, it's not special occasions. They're goal-setting wine bottles. So when you hit a goal, you make a goal, you hit your goal, you get to drink the wine. That's what it's for. So anyways, I was so rudely interrupted, Steve.
Okay.
Cheers to everyone. Welcome to another edition of Wine and Whiskey Wednesday.
I have a goal. So if I drink this water in the next 15 minutes, I get to open one of those bottles of wine.
There you go.
No, not at all. Okay, so I'm getting your internet connection is unstable. Are you okay at your end?
Yeah, I think it's me that's unstable. I don't think it is.
Perfect. Okay. That's cool. All right. So how's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
We're a little stressed in the US because we have that last bell that's going to go for the tax returns.
Right, September 15th, right?
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, so the people who didn't do anything, the last minute people.
And how is this different from your April push? This is the corporate one and April is personal?
Well, April's personal. This is the corporate for 2018. Like if you don't do it now, you're in deep doo-doo.
Yeah, because in April we can still defer it. Now we can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is personal still then? Still for personal taxes?
No, it's business.
Oh, okay.
They have another month for the LLCs. This is the corps. And it's the people that don't do anything all year that are like, hey, can you get my records done by tomorrow for the whole year?
Yeah, no problem. It'll be
and
like
if I hit that goal, I'm getting a whole bunch of bottles.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you. I apologize.
Okay. No problem. And if I'm just kind of sitting here and not really participating, it's because I can't hear any of you because it's literally all my screens are freezing. So,
the internet.
Okay, so Steve, if you're fine, then jump in. And Matthew, I know that you've actually frozen yourself as opposed to, because everybody else is still moving.
I take pictures when he does that though, and I use them against him. I got some doozies waiting to be used.
I hate to remind you, Juliet, but we're in the same house, on the same internet, on the same router. Okay.
So stop hogging all the internet, Steve.
Okay, I'll try, Matthew. I'll try.
Your computer is newer. I think I'm due for.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Didn't we go through this last week?
Hey,
yes, and I still don't have a new one, so I have to keep saying it until I get a new one.
Will you just go and buy a new laptop, please?
Yeah, it's actually me that prevents myself because I hate switching laptops.
Do it, Juliet. I told you about the refurbs. They're great. And you'll save like $400 or $500. You can't buy Macs on sale.
Correct.
Buy a Mac anyways.
Hey.
Well, and I think when the new Macs or something came out, wasn't there some kind of announcement, new iPhone Max, you
No,
No Max. It was everything
No
but
Max.
yesterday.
Max will be later.
You don't need it. Just get a
Okay, so I
MacBook
just have to
Pro
wait
and you're
till the new
set.
ones come out so that I get the newest one.
Well, they're sort of the newest ones now. They just been tweaking them. The new MacBook Pros are the bomb.
That's what I have.
Get a
It's just
15
getting
or
old, I think.
get a 15
It's
inch
time
and just
to
load it up. You'll
retire
be impressed.
Okay, so tonight's topic is courtesy of Matthew from last week.
Oh,
Everybody's frozen, so I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Matthew's fault? This is Matthew's fault?
Everyone, no one's moving.
I'll drink to that.
Okay, yeah. So it's Matthew's topic from last week, where he introduced a topic, but we didn't have enough time to kind of dive into it. We had I think he introduced it 3 minutes towards the end of it. So the topic was transitioning to a remote or a work from home environment, whether that's you as a solo, where you're going from an office to working from home, where you're starting your business and you're working from home, or whether or not your team is starting to have the ability to work from home. And I don't know if anybody's there.
Oh.
Everybody is frozen.
Well,
We're still here. Would you like me to come and sit in that room with you, Juliet, so you're not alone?
No, why don't you, so it's working on my iPad, it's not working on my Mac. So I'm going to boot
are you on
myself
Wi-Fi?
and come back.
Oh, maybe
But on
not.
my iPad, it's fine.
Your Mac is working fine.
You're,
See,
by
but
the
none
way,
of you are
never
moving.
moves for us at all.
I
You're
can see
perfect.
myself moving, but
No, but because we're sitting still, we're not moving.
not everybody is that still.
No, everyone sit still so she won't know. Okay, don't move. This should be fun.
Fine. Okay.
If it
so
counts, you look and sound normal on this end.
Perfect, Matthew. Perfect. Oh,
Is that all it takes? That's all it takes? I'm going to use that in the
I can
future.
tell. You guys
Okay.
are just mean.
Okay.
The next thing I can do is I can actually put a whole video on so it appears like I'm here, but I'm not actually
No,
here.
we're not going to do that now.
But ironically, based on this topic, I am actually at home right now.
Oh.
So one of the beautiful things about using green screen is it gives me the ability to, if I have the same image both places, people don't know if I'm at home or if I'm at work. So there's a little sneaky tip that I have.
Unless Silas goes, "Grrr," then you're like, yeah. Then it's like, are you home? I hear Silas.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
It's actually-
Kathy's joining us tonight as well.
There you go.
How are you doing, Kathy?
Oh.
Okay, so I saw that move. I saw that change. I wonder if I turn off my video and turn it back on, that everybody else's video will start moving. I'm going to try it. Give me 1 second.
So
Listen.
one of the tools I just recently found was an app called Crisp on AppSumo, KRISP. And the reason I bring it up at the moment is it's supposed to basically do a great job to help remove background noises. So my dog's barking, that kind of thing. And I've actually tested it a couple times on your podcast, and you guys didn't know.
So it does it through live video, not when you're recording video.
Yeah, so
Works through Zoom.
right now I'm on my normal Yeti. I'm going to switch over to my Crisp microphone. It basically, you install it on the computer, and now if I was to turn on my AC unit, you wouldn't hear as much of the constant noise in the background. And I've actually tested it with Tiffany and Linda both, and it does a decent job.
Yeah, I did.
And
I
are
need to
you
test it with my dogs.
Did you flip it? Because I couldn't tell a difference in your sound if you did.
I'm on it right now. And that was a big question for me, was trying to make sure that the dynamic range is still the same. Like for me right now in California, it's still 5 o'clock. In my house, it gets really, really warm. So I have a portable AC usually like right in front of my desk. And I just turned it off, but I'll turn it back on and you won't hear it as much.
Interesting. Okay, very cool. So Crisp. That's
Yes.
what it's called, Crisp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris with a K.
Yeah.
Crisp with a K, like Ninja, but it's not silent.
There you
Awesome.
go.
Yes, with the K.
Awesome.
Risk. It's risk.
Juliet,
Yes.
are you okay with Matthew saying we're background noise?
Oh, he fake froze again.
I don't think that's what he said. That's not what I heard.
Well, how would you know? Because you keep freezing up, so you don't really know what he said.
You're just picking on me because I picked on you earlier. It's okay, Juliet. I got you.
I appreciate it. Okay, so let's go from the perspective of, well, let's start with solo. So if you're a solo and you are working from home, a lot of people find it challenging. There's lots of people who say that they feel isolated. And again, even if you're a team that you're working from home, same thing, you can feel isolated. So let's maybe address that first as to how you avoid that, or what you can do to mitigate it, that you don't feel, like you're all by yourself.
Get out of the house once in a while. It's all. It sounds simple. But if you, I hear people say, "Oh, I never leave the house." It's like, why? Do you have a life? I mean, is there any networking to do? Do you have any friends? Obviously, they don't have a Vespa, or they'd be outside riding it. So a lot of people just stay at home all day, and I think that's the problem, because then they get into these boring routines. You got to get out still. I have co-working space downtown Calgary. We have 3 locations down there, so I have options. I was at my meetup this morning that I organized around a lot of really cool people. I mean, you have to still do that. I'm as mobile as they come. I'm working at home. I've been working at home a lot lately. This summer, I spent more time at home than I normally do. You just got to get out once in a while. And that's the only way you can maintain your sanity. You still have to be around people. And as soon as you take people out of the equation, you're going to go freaking crazy. So,
okay. So does that mean that if you are a team, for example, that you allow your team to work from home, or you give them flex hours, that you need to give them not just the ability to work from home, but the ability to be flexible, that they can work for 2 hours and then go out for a while and then come back, that they don't have to be online and working during business hours? Would that alleviate some of the isolation that they feel if they're having to be online and working from home during business hours?
I think it would. I mean, in this day and age, who counts the clock anymore, right? People work at weird times. I think of how many times people are on at the strangest times. I get replies that, when I least expect it. Yeah, I mean, we're not an 8 to 5 sort of people anymore. The gig economy is all about just getting it done whenever you can get it done. So I would definitely encourage that. I have a friend here who runs a really successful IT firm, and he's got a big team now. I saw a group picture today. It blew me away how big he is. And I know where their office is because it's in the same co-working space I have. There's probably 20% of those people that I recognize because they're never there. They just work wherever. And Sean, the owner, he leads by example. He's better now, but he used to go out of town and he wouldn't tell anyone where he was going. And he'd be like, Brad, I'm in New York City today. I'm in the Empire State Building, and no one knows. And I just thought, and he did that because he was still afraid that while the cat's away, ice might play. Right. Now he's on that, and people just work wherever, and it works really well for him because he's put a lot of trust in them, and they get to kind of work wherever they have to work to get it done. So I think it's a great idea. It doesn't work for everyone.
So it takes a lot of discipline. That's an important word. Trust. Mm-hmm. If you've got a team that's working from home, we get asked the question a lot. Well, how do you know that your team is actually working? That, maybe they're logged in and you can see them on, because we use Teamwork Chat to communicate internally. Maybe they've logged on their computer and they've, you can see that they're on Teamwork Chat, but that they're not actually working and they're doing laundry or they're doing something else. So I think that's an important one, is that you have to trust your team.
Well, it's all based on results.
Trust them to be working.
Yeah. It's got to be based on results. If they're not getting stuff done, then it's obvious they're not managing it properly. But if they're getting stuff done, I think that's your biggest indicator that doesn't really matter. It's the people that are taking advantage of the situation, and I think there's a lot of ways to catch that.
Jacqueline, how do you feel about it?
back to if you don't trust them, don't hire them.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I don't trust people, I don't look at them. So I wouldn't definitely not hire them. So, yeah, it's all about trust. It all comes in the hiring process, right? It's that sort of with new employees. There's always that honeymoon when you first hire them, and everything feels great. And if that honeymoon doesn't continue, then you just get rid of them, right? But I think it is in the hiring process. I think we all agree it's hire slowly, fire faster. It has to be that way, not the other way around. I think people do the opposite. They hire really quickly because they have a need, and then they get somebody on and they don't want to go through the process again, so they leave crappy people on.
Yeah.
So really, it's just like everything else. And in this day and age, I think when you're hiring for this virtual world we live in, trust becomes everything. You really gotta, you can't test for that. How do you test for that? You can do background checks and still not know. I mean, it's just you just got to try them out and see how they work. And if work's not getting done.
And what do you do, Jacqueline? I mean, you're solo, right? You work from home.
By myself.
I believe you do.
Until it gets back in.
So how do you stop yourself going crazy, or is it too late?
I would say it's too late, but I found that during the day I just do my normal living, and then I'm doing most of my work at night because nobody's there. It's nice and quiet. Okay. Things can get done. Well, my clients contact me during the day. I do whatever they need, but most of my work's done at night.
Okay. And you don't find it too much of a challenge living at home and working at home?
No, not really, because like Brad says, I go out and I meet friends and network and stuff like that. So that helps.
Okay.
But
okay.
You have to be, like Brad said, you have to be disciplined, because I mean, there are days that I can come up with so much to procrastinate. It's not funny anymore, but
I'm good at procrastination. Trust me, I'm good at it.
Yeah. I'm not sure procrastination is unique to those that work at home, but I understand what you mean for sure.
There's more of it when you got all your own stuff around. Let's just say.
Yeah.
When I go to my co-working space, I'm super productive, but I don't have all the creature comforts of home. My office is my backpack, and you've only got so much. And I put headphones on and go to work, which reminds me, I haven't been there in a while.
Brad, do you bring like a second monitor with you also?
I have a portable Asus USB monitor, but now the best, I don't know, is Juliet there? iOS 13, the new Mac OS, it uses an iPad as a second monitor. It's pretty slick.
That's pretty cool.
It's a new feature. It's called the Sidecar, and it allows you to use an iPad as a second monitor. It's pretty good. I prefer the Asus USB monitor though.
Yeah.
And one of my co-working locations actually has cubicles with monitors in them, so I can actually have 3 monitors going if I work out of Stephen Avenue.
Very cool.
There's one other tip that's kind of along that line. If you are somebody that works from home and you may have to go out for meetings, you may have to go to a person's business more likely, right? If you're working out of your own home office, because maybe you're not bringing people over. There's 3 things I need anytime I work remotely. It's a screen beam. No. One of the things I always use is a Screen Beam 2, and it's cost me like $59 from Best Buy. It plugs into HDMI, so anything that's HDMI, plug it right into it, USB little power thing. And I am a PC guy, so it's made more for PC than Mac, but there's alternatives. You can toss your screen up, either mirror or make it a extension screen onto anything you can plug the HDMI into. So that's great if you're doing a laptop and you're going to go do a presentation with a client. I can't tell you how many times, I had a whole packet full of different cables and I always had the wrong one. So that $59 buy was one of the best things I ever did for working remotely.
Didn't we use that when we were in Salt Lake City? Didn't we come on Wine and Whiskey from the hotel room?
Very cool.
We had you on the big screen.
I was on my iPhone in the lobby.
That works too.
Yeah, it was good. I remember that. That was when I was waiting for Heather to come down. It was her birthday, and we were supposed to get her down to the party, and she was running late with a client commitment. So I think I talked with you guys for about 45 minutes that night. It worked all right. I'm introducing a new client to Zoom tomorrow for the first time. She's scared. Like, I've never used it. Is it going to hurt?
Okay. So Zoom, let's talk about Zoom. How important is Zoom for your team? So if you have a remote team, so we've been trying something new at our office, which literally it's very new, and I'm not sure it's successful yet. So we've allowed everyone we're testing to double their work from home time from what they were before. So depending on how long you've been with us, you get different number of days in a month that you can work from home. And so one of the concerns that came up was, well, I like the mix of being able to come in the office as well as working from home because I like interacting with the people. And so we have set up a Zoom room that sits there that's open all the time during work hours that people can come and go from and chat. It's kind of like a water cooler, but it's a Zoom room.
Zoom, like an actual
I don't know
Zoom
if there's
room?
enough. It's an actual, yeah, it's an actual account that's open, that's sitting there for people to just walk in and out of. And it was funny, a funny story, and hopefully Jen doesn't watch this wine and whiskey episode. So
Would you like me to text her?
So we decided we were going to start this on September 1st. And we talked about it the last week of August, and we said, okay, we'll start the new hours, the Zoom room, everything from September 1st. And so on August 28th, whatever the Thursday is, she went into the room and she's sitting there and she's talking to herself and where is everybody? And she was in there for like 20 minutes waiting for people to come in, sitting there by herself, cursing us and we said, you're like 3 days early. It doesn't start until September 1st. So we're very excited about that. But what other ways are there to engage team members with each other while they're all working remotely?
Was solo, don't ask me.
So real quick touch base. I would love to learn more about your Zoom room because it's been something I've always wanted to understand better before I just put the investment into actually doing a true Zoom room. So maybe offline I
think she's talking software, right, Juliet? Are you talking a physical room?
Sure.
Well, no. So Zoom,
no, it literally
it's called a Zoom room, and you have certain equipment in there that you can do, and it's a special part of a subscription. But I think it's a cool idea. But
okay, that's not what we have.
Oh.
You have a Zoom. I have a Zoom room. I know I do. I have a Zoom room on my account. I've seen things in my Zoom room.
Yeah, you can have a software room where it's an isolated room where you can go in and other people can't see you there unless they're invited in.
That's not what we have.
Okay.
We have a separate login.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we just have a separate login where it's running a meeting all day and people can come and go. So I'm not sure that I can help you with the Zoom room. I just call it our Zoom room.
That's more a physical room with green screens and equipment and sound and all that.
Okay.
That's more of a...
Well, so for us with Parkway, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brad. We actually started off where it was two separate home businesses, right? So I went from working at a retail store all the time, running a business, to having to get used to working from home, which was really, really tough for me at first. I had to get past the whole, my house has to be perfectly clean before I can do any work. Drove me nuts for a while. But what we did to try to make it work way before Zoom or any of that stuff is stand-up meetings every day. So first thing in the morning, we would do a stand-up meeting. When we first started working together, we also took time once a week to actually work on our certifications together. So this was back, we were doing desktop, everything else. So we spent about an hour, it was actually an hour every morning, first thing, going through the information, just going through to where we could become certified with QuickBooks Desktop at the time. And it just kind of helped keep that camaraderie and things building from that aspect. Additionally, what also helped was having a VoIP phone system, like right off the bat. And I say a VoIP phone system because, like, we use Dialpad, it gives us the ability to chat back and forth, text message back and forth. Not to mention, when you're doing it that way, if I get a phone call, whether I'm on my computer, my cell phone, or my laptop, it's all set up with the same system, and I can get that phone call anywhere. But that chatting capability back and forth made it really easy for us to connect real fast. So I didn't have to pick up my cell phone and go do. So those kind of things really helped a lot. Yeah, we did even more then. Now, because we use Teams a lot more, like we've used Microsoft Teams for everything. More of our chat is in Teams, because if we're chatting about a client, we do our best to always make sure it's under that client's channel. And if we're just chatting about chatting, then we're just in the traditional chat. But I still use my VoIP for clients to text me.
Okay, so we talked a little bit.
Sorry, could I just ask, Matthew, do your clients have the ability to access you via text?
Yes, big time. I hate email with a passion. I'm very passionate about that. It took a bit of time, but in a sense, you could say I trained my clients actually to text me. And I love it that way, because it's there. I can go back to any point in time. With the VoIP system, it's actually searchable as well. So I always prefer that.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Steve, you had another question?
No, I was just going to say that's something we're having an internal debate about at the moment. So.
Okay, so, well, and my next question may help determine what the answer to that internal debate is. So if your team is working from home, you have your team all remote, let's assume they're all remote and not a mix like ours, but that they're all remote, they have the flexibility to work the hours that they want. We're going by results, making sure that the results are and the deadlines are being met. How then do you set the expectations for your clients that, hey, we're not available during business hours all the time because my team is working different hours? So how do you set the expectations with your clients? Because I know that for us, it was especially when we were in an office, and when we started probably like 7 or 8 years ago, a lot of companies came to us because we had a physical office and we were available during business hours. And that was a big selling feature for us, is you can reach us anytime. So, and I think
Lisa Channel's in here somewhere.
Is trying
in. She's in the chat, so that means
let her in.
Oh, there she is. Okay, I'll let her in. There we go. There we go. Okay.
I don't think she came all this way to chat. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa.
Turn your sound on, my friend.
Yeah, you're a little muted there, or start yelling. Yell louder.
Sorry, I didn't know you were sitting there. Otherwise, I would have let you.
I went in and out a bunch of times because I couldn't figure out if I was doing it right. And it didn't look the same as it did last time. Hi, everybody.
She had to let you in. She was ignoring you. I got you in, Lisa.
Thank you, Brad.
Looking out for you as always.
Okay, so my question then is, how do you set the expectations with clients as to when the team is available to answer questions? If you don't have fixed business hours, what do you do?
That has actually been one of my biggest challenges. I found it very difficult. So when we wanted to expand from 2 people and we wanted to bring on like an administrative assistant, we had to try to figure out how we could do that to where she was at somebody's house also, right? Because especially, I'm sure everywhere, but what do? Say, hey, I need you to pick up the phone whenever we get a phone call. How do you schedule that time that person's actually available as administrative assistant to pick up the phone for you? And we had somebody before Mary that we were training up, we were trying to do this stuff, And during summertime for school, she was trying to see if she could work from home. And it was really difficult to do. It's like, how do you keep building a team with everybody always remote? Since then, we've actually transitioned back to where we do have a brick and mortar now. We actually look at our office space as more of like a marketing expense, but it does help that, hey, they've got a place to go to. There are times that she's in the office and maybe Mike and I are not, but now we have dedicated hours that we do have to be able to pick up the phone call. And if she's not available, we pick it up. It's hard.
Yeah, I think Juliet has frozen again. Oh no, there she is. This is funny. Are you with us, Juliet?
I'm freezing.
Keep seeing her eyes move, but that's about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, so Lisa, you just started you got your new office space like about a little bit less than a year ago, right? And you've been adding on. How's your journey been?
Like a roller coaster. I'm just hanging on by my fingernails at this point.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. We're all hanging on by our fingernails.
No, don't say
doing
that.
It right.
I want to know that you're doing it perfectly.
No such thing. No such thing.
I'm super fascinated by this conversation, though. Are you guys talking about who picks up the phone and whether or not you're available all the time for clients?
More virtual work and how to manage it.
Which ties to that.
I love this. So I don't answer the phone.
Yay! Me
At
either.
all?
Ever.
Me either.
No joke, ever. I never, ever pick up the phone. It is my cell phone. So I'll say that. And I am very, very careful in the onboarding process to scare people away that feel like the phone is the answer, because the phone is not the answer to me. I love hopping on a Zoom call intentionally. I love preparing for a Zoom call. I love connecting with the people. I love all of that stuff. I hate the phone. I hate it. I can't even handle the phone. And my voicemail message is, you will not answer me. I will not answer you this way. This is not how I operate. And hopefully I've told you that ahead of time. And
I've been doing it that way for 6 years, Lisa. Same way. It's people seem to feel they have they want instant gratification, and that's not the way we roll, or at least that's not how I roll. People that know me know how to get in touch with me. They also know where my scheduling link is if they want to schedule a call. I'll always call them back when they want me to, but it's got to be on my time frame. Nothing is an emergency in our space, so at least in mine. I have nowhere as a client their life is going to end if they can't talk to me right this minute.
No.
And there are no such thing as accounting emergencies.
I agree.
So by
does
picking
it
up
come
the
back
phone
to
instantly,
what you want?
I think people should leave messages or find out other ways to reach out to you or schedule a call with you. Get them on Acuity or Calendly. That's my clients are okay with that. They just know.
What about new clients?
Well, just tell them up front. The best way to get in touch with me is to use these tools. Even prospecting now, I won't do face-to-face anymore because I will not take hours out of my day to travel to where I'm going to go just to meet that person. I always feel it out first on the phone, and that is an option because you can schedule a phone call with me or Zoom, and I spend an hour with them figuring out if there's a fit or not.
I'm not saying that I won't call them back.
Yeah.
Like,
won't pick up the phone live.
I have crazy anxiety. And so if I see a call come in and I don't know what it's about, I immediately full-fledged panic. Like I can't pick up the phone that way. So I set one of the biggest game changers for me was setting my voicemail to turn into text messages. Mm-hmm. So people can leave a message all day long. I'll see the message and I'll know if it's urgent. And if it's urgent, I'll call them back. But nothing's ever there's been probably 5 times in the course of owning my business that something has been a real emergency. So,
I would make 2 suggestions on that then. I think this is really interesting. One, I would say nowadays you can get a VoIP phone number for so cheap. If there's any little piece of advice I can give to anybody starting a business, do not ever put your cell phone on your business card. There's no need for it.
Okay, well that's all fine and dandy, but what Lisa's
Juliet
saying
needs to come in.
but Lisa's basically saying she doesn't want to talk on the phone, so VoIP's not going to solve it. I don't mind having my cell phone. I'm okay with a cell phone. I would have no use for a second phone.
Brad, let Matthew finish his point.
So the reason I was saying a VoIP phone, and before I go further, Heather's waiting to get in, Juliet, just so you know.
Sorry.
The reason I'm saying a VoIP
exclusive.
is set up to where it goes straight to either a voicemail, and you can have it to where the voicemail gives contact information. So actually wishing to respect that aspect of it, it's great. The auto dialers nowadays are a joke. Like everything, at least in the US, I'm sure the same thing for you guys. It used to be if it was a local number, you pick it up because, okay, it could be business. Now, I don't even want to pick that up if I don't know the number. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But the reason I said the VoIP also is get your cell phone off of there so you can have that separation. It took me too long to learn that. And that itself will also help with some of that. That way, if you get a call on your cell phone, you want to pick it up because it's a friend calling you or a family calling you, not because it's something else. So
what if I hate also picking up the phone for family and friends?
I'm almost the same way with you, Lisa.
Oh, this is live. This is going to be broadcast.
Hey, Heather, unmute yourself. Let's hear Australia in the house.
Yes, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, Heather.
Just popped up in my Facebook feed.
You're from the future. What day is it and time over there where you are right now?
Well, it's kind of weird because for us, it's the 12th of September. And for us, today's the day that 9/11 happened. But anyway.
It was 9/12 in Australia, was it?
Yeah.
Doesn't quite sound the same.
Well, no, but it's a weird day. Yes, but you just popped up in my feed. I hate picking up the telephone too. I never give out my phone number. And my auntie used to go to telephone anonymous support groups. People who are nervous about telephones.
Yeah. Okay, so does it come back to then what your business model is? I mean, for us, again, a big reason that people came to us was because we were available between business hours. And if Lisa's setting the expectations up front that, don't call me. But for us, it was, yes, you can reach us, pick up the phone and you call us if you have, if you need something, not necessarily that it's an emergency, but that we're part of your team. So if you're having a remote team, so Jennifer Baldick asked the question, does that mean that when our team works from home that they don't ever take client calls? Not at all, because we have VoIP. So they're calling from home, but from the client perspective, it's our office number that's showing up. So they don't see their personal numbers at all. But we've set the expectation with our clients that you can reach us, that we're accessible. So how would you deal with that? Yes, Lisa.
I just want to quickly add too that I pride myself on the customer service aspect of things. It's just that the phone isn't the way that I operate the customer service aspect. Yeah. So I am available in a multitude of different ways. I hate how much I rely on email, but I'm absolutely faster via email than I am with picking up the phone. So I always say, like, feel free to send me an email and I'll find a time in the day to be able to give you a call back. But especially with like the webinars and the training and all of those things, I'm often like, I have 5 hours a day with no kids and I pretty much chock-a-block fill those hours with meetings and appointments where I'm with someone else. So I don't want to stop who I'm talking to or at to pick up a call from someone else, but I will squeeze in those moments. I'm just being aware that this is live and I probably sound like a total jerk right now.
Total jerk. Always.
They won't call you about
Be
it.
a nice guy like me.
I'm like blushing so hard right now.
No, you're nailing it, Lisa, because I find a phone I've always been the type that when I get on the phone, people won't let me get off the phone. I find I have no control over voice, and phone calls just go on way longer than they should. And some people are just really good at keeping you on. Anyone involved in sales knows how to do that. Mm-hmm. So I really, when I block off a half hour of my time, I'm looking at my watch going, okay, half hour's up. Did we accomplish what you set out to do? Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's billable time. So if the client wants to yak away, it's like, I'll let them. I charge by the hour. But when somebody just wants to talk and it's administrative or it's out of the blue, and my friends know this too, that I'm not the easiest guy to get in touch with either. I don't make them do Zoom or use Acuity, but frankly, we text, we text back and forth, and then we actually meet in person. So
okay, so
voice, I think it's a time suck. I don't know, Lisa, do you feel that way? It can be a big time suck once you're on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I love intentionally doing it. Like, I'll ask about your family and like my client's family and how their kids are and all of that stuff all the time. I enjoy that aspect of it, the human connection for sure. But I like to schedule it in.
Yeah.
I like to be prepared for that.
Okay, so one of the, I guess, the answers then is setting expectations with your clients about when you're available and providing other means of communication, not necessarily just phone, text, email, chat. Does anyone have like help desk tickets that lets their clients put in a ticket and then you reach back? I mean, that's an option as well, that it doesn't necessarily have to be one person, that the tickets go to everybody.
Heck was that?
That was my animals. That was my cat.
Your camera? Oh,
my cat and my dog chasing the cat.
Did the alligator get in, Linda?
No.
Okay, so Linda doesn't have a crisp microphone.
I actually do, but I don't have it turned on. But the one thing I'd like to say though is I answer the phone. I don't know if that's a thing that someone my age was more apt to answer a telephone. And I find sometimes too that I can go back and forth with a client a million times. I've got one lady I'm trying to train that's just been like pulling teeth. So for me, she'll send me 12 emails, which I just want to go. So I just like, instead of answering 12 emails, I'll just call her and say, let's just go through this, because I can't do 12 emails. I just can't, because it compounds itself. And I just call her. And sometimes I just pop into a Zoom and we'll hop onto the screen and we'll just do it together, because a lot of times I'll use like Loom to just send a video instead of having to write an email, because I don't want to write an email either. I'm getting to be more like, I'll just want to have that short attention span now. If I read an article and it's like goes on for a couple of pages, I don't want to read it anymore, I'll skim it. Yeah. If it's got a video, I'll watch the video. I never thought I'd turn into that person, but I'm like, I think I'll watch the video instead of reading, because I'm too lazy to read sometimes. It's sad.
I can't even watch videos longer than 5 minutes anymore. That's too
I know. I hear you. I hate when
3 minutes is kind of optimal. Get to the point, say what you're saying, and be done.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, you're muted. I'm not sure if you meant to mute yourself.
No, I did not. But I was being prepared because my kids are coming in the door right now.
So. I should be prepared for my chat.
But what I was going to say to Linda, though, is the key to what you just said there is that it's your prerogative, though. You're actually saving yourself by doing it your way.
Definitely.
Which vice versa, like whether it's email or phone, whatever it is, or setting the expectation by doing whichever way you want to do. You're the master of your domain. You're still winning because you're doing it the way you want to do it.
We got Seinfeld references all of a sudden. Better
not. Reference.
That's not. Really good, Lisa.
It's a family show. Okay, so what other challenges are there with remote teams? Transitioning from either a physical space to a remote team, or just building a remote team. What other challenges are there? Flexibility of time we've talked about. We've talked about some tools that may help. Would you all provide your team with standardized equipment so that they don't have connection challenges like me? Is that something then that you're not paying rent anymore, but are you sending everybody computer equipment and double monitors and setting them up with proper, is that an expectation?
Hey, Juliet, real quickly, I just wanted to let you know, we're hiring, and we had to try.
Okay, you're offering me a position? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was going to send you my standardized equipment so you could have the same stuff that you see me using all the time. Okay. We're hiring.
No, you know what, Julia? Tell them you want to work there in the winter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then I'd have a pool all year round. Do you have a pool?
Get the ocean.
Everything is
count?
possible.
Okay, so is that an expectation when you're building a remote team that you're providing the equipment? Or should you be, so that you know that they have, you know, a fast computer and not crappy internet and, you know, what is it?
I kind of think it's about taking care of your people too, though. Like it's like they're part of your family and you should be taking care of your people. And I'm saying that from a place of, I don't have enough money to do that. So the goal, it would absolutely be that any repairs and maintenance on that computer, any tool upgrades, like I want them to feel like they're taken care of because they're part of the team, the family, whatever. And goals, basically.
Assets. You got to
Yeah.
remember they're your assets, not your liabilities.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
If they're your subcontractor, you don't have to. If they're a subcontractor, they have their own equipment. But like my daughter, she's subcontractor, but I still supply the equipment.
But that's really family.
Yeah, I'd like her to be an employee, but she doesn't want to be an employee because she doesn't want me to tell her what hours she has to work.
Well, and nowadays
Ryan.
with remote employees, you can still give them the flexible time. I know there's one company in the US that, which is an idea that I love, that provides the employees with some flexibility. So in a 40-hour work week, 20 of those 40 hours have to be within 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. But the other 20 hours, you get to have some flexibility. So you have the best of both worlds.
Can I
Yes.
talk again? I'm taking
You don't
over
have
this
to put up
entire
your-
conversation. Tell me to shut up. That's exactly the relationship that I have with my team member, actually, because I prefer the flexibility myself. Part of like the new mission of what I've come to realize about having a business is actually that I want to create jobs for people that find it difficult to work somewhere else. So being able to provide like the most flexible work style is actually, it makes me feel so good, because that's why I started the business, to be able to offer somebody, like I don't care if he wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning or works at midnight, and it doesn't matter. And that's part of the reason that I don't want to have to answer the phone. Like I want to be able to work at 5 o'clock in the morning and not be restricted to someone else's schedule. Because I mean, really with customer service, yes, but bookkeeping, I don't know that you need to work whenever you feel like it.
Yep, get it
And
done.
actually, he's probably doing a better job because he's a parent too, and he was a stay-at-home dad before I hired him, and it's just such a privilege to have somebody as capable as he is. I want to make him happy, so work whenever you feel like it. It's awesome.
Matthew, you had something you wanted to say?
I actually was going to touch base on something that Jacqueline said earlier, because I actually resemble it quite a bit. It feels like throughout my daytime, I traditionally spend so much time talking to people, whether it's phone or this or that, everything else, that it has always been. And I think this is a downfall of that, working from home concept sometimes, that I go home and I then work more. I am not promoting this as a good thing. I think it's actually a bad thing. And I would love to find a better way to control it better. Maybe it's because I pick up that phone call. Maybe I shouldn't, Lisa. Maybe you're right. But I think that what Jacqueline was saying is a very realistic. It's real nowadays. So you do have to have that flexibility of time and scheduling. I get some of my best work done at night because I have to, like, the stuff I'm doing, it's usually deeper dive stuff. Like I have to have this working. So, and I can't be interrupted. So I have to do it where it's quiet.
Okay, so that's an interesting question, or an interesting point. So everyone that is on this call is a business owner. You're not an employee of a firm. If you are an employee of a firm, would you do what Matthew is doing, where you would work all day, and because there's still work to do, go home and work all night? Or is that, as a business owner, you do that, but not necessarily as an employee?
I don't do that either. During the day, I do my basic stuff, and if a client calls, then I pick up and talk to them and try and solve whatever they call emergency. It's not in my book an emergency, but but during the day I'm doing laundry, groceries, doing whatever, and then at night I focus on, because it's much quieter and I can focus. I hate being interrupted when I'm in the middle of something. So that's how I've shifted my thing. Like if somebody calls me during the day and says, oh, hey, I'm having a problem with such and such a program, can you walk me through it? And then I can, while I'm still doing laundry, I can usually walk them through it just out of my memory. But
yeah. Okay.
I think too, I'm not a night person, I'm a morning person. So I'm not apt to do what he's doing because I'm just not, I'm more apt to get up at 5 in the morning and do that quiet time for me. I start to lose it at night.
I'm working to corrupt her.
Yeah.
Lisa, please go ahead.
I also just realized that when I have too many meetings scattered all over the place, I get really distracted really easy as well. So I've actually started planning my weeks around the times that I'm available for meetings and being on. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stack all my meetings, all one bang, 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 often too close together. And then I can't even get coffee or anything. And it's very sad. Yeah, bio breaks.
Yeah. What do you think is the maximum? This is a great question because I've been thinking this myself. I said 5 meetings the other day. That was way too many. You can't get anything done. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the maximum you should put in a day? I'm
like a 4, and even 4, sometimes it just has to happen, but 4 is a max for me.
What's the sweet spot? 2? I'm with you. And don't make them the day after you come back from a conference. That I learned too. Don't stack 5 in that day and then think that you're going to make up for the week before. Doesn't work.
No. Last week, I had to be on 2 Intuit meetings at the exact same time.
Yeah, he hit the Guinness World Book of Record on that one.
But so you had to cancel one, right?
No, he did both. It's Matthew Fulton. He did both.
And 2 computers set up, right? With 2 green screens, and you just jump back and forth, right?
You know, I studied the brain in yoga. You can't do anything. You can't do 2 things at once well.
Yeah.
The brain, that thing in your dome.
Okay. All right. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Any other challenges that anyone wants to talk about on being a remote team, either starting a remote team or building one?
Can I just, sorry, I need to get in my 2 cents for the lowly phone.
I made Steve mad.
I'm very, well, no, not at all. Not at
Do you have
all.
a flip
I'm
phone?
very much
A flip phone?
That was mean.
Juliet will attest to this, how much I despise the telephone.
No.
How much I will not answer the phone when it rings. I just don't like the telephone. But all that being said, it really disturbs me how we have allowed email and texting to hurt our productivity because we won't use the phone. That we go back and forth in texts, we'll go back and forth in email with 6 emails when a 3-minute phone call would have solved it. And so I think we sometimes need to understand that there's a balance, right? That, you know, I know email's easier, right? Especially if it's a phone call you don't really want to make because you know, you might be getting an earful at the other end or whatever reason. But it kills your productivity if you don't make those phone calls. And I see it almost every day. And so I'm just my little 2 cents on defending the phone. And Juliet is probably in shock that I'm the person defending the phone because no one hates the phone more than I do.
Well, even when Steve's daughter wants to reach him, she calls me.
Oh.
Can you tell my dad to pick up his phone?
Well, because I have my phone set on Do Not Disturb.
All the time.
So I don't even know who's calling.
Okay, but I have a rebuttal to this, and it's not that I don't agree with what you're saying. I totally
a rebuttal sort of means you don't agree.
I agree. Actually,
don't agree with them.
With a caveat. I agree with a caveat because one of the parts that I struggle with is that I find it really difficult to retain information that's coming in through my ears, regardless of where it's coming from. So part of like the email strategy for me, yes, I totally agree with you. Sometimes it's very inefficient, but I need to reread a conversation multiple times to make sure it sticks in my brain. And so I would say that the customer service aspect of just getting on the phone should absolutely be done. I still don't want to have a random call that I just pick up.
Agreed.
But I think that especially if you think someone is going to scream at you, that's exactly why you should get on the phone. Like that's the reason you should get on the phone.
Absolutely.
But plan it out. And then I would argue that even though it does take more time, what you covered in the phone call, send an email to document.
Yeah.
Or take notes while you're talking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The email part with me is my CRM loves email. So I can go back and review the thread. I do it all the time because I don't remember, like Lisa just said, I don't remember what was necessarily discussed, what we agreed upon. All the information I need is in my CRM for that customer, and I can easily find the thread, and including attachments, anything I've ever emailed to them. It makes it easier. Phone call, Zoom call, I'm indifferent as long as it's when I want it to be and not this emergency thing. So Steve, when you mentioned going back and forth in email, I agree totally. If you're getting nowhere using those methods, definitely. But if I don't really allow that to happen with my clients, it's like we don't get into these long protracted threads. They ask a simple question and I research it, and then I give them the answer they need. We go back and forth a few times, problem solved. But that's just kind of the way that I use it. And then I've got all that documented within the CRM. That I do everything these days around making sure it's documented. And a phone conversation, unless you are using a system where you're recording that phone call, it's useless to me because at least I'm glad you put it that way, because I can have a conversation and someone say, what'd you talk about? Stuff, software, maybe, I don't know. So.
Okay. So we've got 2 minutes left, and I just want to touch on one of the points that Brad said, and maybe we have a couple minutes to discuss it. So what about, again, remote team working from home? How do you know what's going on between your team and your clients? So what system is tracking and keeping track of client communication? When you're in the office, it's so much easier. You walk over to someone's desk and you say, hey, can you give me an update as to what's going on with this client? And they're there and they're readily available. You've now introduced flex hours. They're not in the office. How do you, as a business owner, as a manager, stay on top of what's going on with your clients? Or do you not?
Slack or Teams, or I don't know, like this is always controversial.
Or
like,
why not just the voice to text converter, right? You have a phone call with a client, it's on speakerphone. There's tons of tools available now, right? You just convert that phone call to text. You've got a record of the phone call, and you still had your phone call with the client.
That's a good point.
Okay.
I know Chris Mandarins and Tanya, they do that all the time. I've just never thought of it. I actually saw one of those tools in action fairly recently. It was at a I'm not going to say this too loudly. It was at a Xero event, and they were actually had someone in the back just recording the whole thing, and it was transcribing as the presentation was going on. So I can prove what they were saying now.
Otter.ai and Dialpad also has full transcription and even emotion like tracking.
Okay, cool. Lots of great resources. Okay, we're at 9 o'clock, so we're actually 9:01, and we try as much as possible to respect the hour that everyone is I'm not frozen, am I?
No, just ignore him. That's what I do.
God. Okay.
Like, another snapshot.
You guys are just
Juliet, did you remember we're not in town next Wednesday?
yes.
Are you coming to Ventura for vacation?
Couple of announcements. Okay, so tomorrow, I don't know if Jennifer Baldick is still on chat because I turned off everything so that I can't see any of the comments that have been coming in. But tomorrow, Steve and I are on Jennifer Baldick's QBO connector H2H at 1 o'clock, noon. What time are we on? Noon Eastern, 1 o'clock Eastern.
I believe it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, 1 o'clock Eastern.
It's fun because at 12 I have a Zoom call, so yes.
Okay, so 1 o'clock Eastern. And then there was another announcement. What was the other announcement?
Next week, Wednesday.
Next week,
we're in Ottawa.
We're in Ottawa for the IPBC. And even though it's Wednesday evening, Intuit is throwing this big bash Wednesday night. So we're going partying.
I can't believe how sad I am that I'm going to miss it.
What do you mean you're going to miss it?
You're
not going?
No.
Aren't you a runner? Aren't
What are
you
you
one
going
of
to
the
do if you
contestants?
win?
I'm not going to win.
What do you mean you're not going to win? You actually got a great shot at it. Absolutely.
There's zero chance I'm going to win, but I'm
What do you
so
mean?
for everyone
No.
on that list.
No, last year I remember people were naming who was going to win. And, I think Tracy's awesome, but a lot of people said that was a surprise. Don't count yourself out.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone
I won
has a
already.
shot there.
Honestly, I am so
You have a shot of winning.
No, I won already. Like, I just am so grateful to even be included in that group of them.
Okay, let's put money. Lisa's going to win next week.
Yeah, I think so.
So we
And you
won't,
won't be there to accept it.
so we won't be live next Wednesday. So
Well,
it'll
why don't we just try to do it from the Intuit party and we'll
There
just
you
have-
go. Just do 5
that'll
minutes.
go really
be
well.
5 minutes from the
Remember
Intuit.
last year in
Yeah,
Calgary,
yeah.
we did tequila shots one after
It'll
another.
be
Let's
so
go
organized.
live.
It'll be so organized and so quiet. That
Do it from your
Quiet.
phone.
And we might
Or-
I might actually not freeze as much and have a better
Yeah.
There you
Good
go.
point.
We
Good
could always
point.
do it to where Linda and I help you out, and you guys can chime in when you're there and have some fun with it. If you'd like us to assist, we've
You can
always
pop in. We'll let you pop in.
We appreciate that. And if for those going to IPBC, please make sure you check out our sessions. Both Juliet and I are speaking.
Yes.
Have a right, you guys. It's a fun
Cool.
conference.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Okay, we're 9:03. We're 3 minutes over.
No, I'm going to bill you.
Everyone for joining us for another Wine and Whiskey. Great conversation.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Heather.
Yeah,
Yes,
nice
Heather.
talking to you, Heather.
Bye. Bye.
Have an awesome
Nice to
Have an
meet you.
awesome week. Cheers, everyone.
Nice to see you
Cheers.
again, Heather. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.